wanted to talk about, coevolution in another way. And another way that I think our pelvis is different is, women have to give birth to little babies with giant heads compared to other creatures. So it sounds like bipedality came before most of the increase in skull size in our lineage.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, you asked the question before about what distinguishes Australopithecus from Homo. And really, when you get into the genus Homo around 2.5 million years ago, you get slightly bigger brains. You go from 300, 400 cubic centimeters to 5, 600, 700, 800 cubic centimeters. You get to a fossil species called Homo erectus around 1.8 million years ago, 1.6 million years ago, which is found in Africa, but now also parts of like East Asia. And these hominins had brain sizes of around 800 to 1,000 cubic centimeters. But then around 1 million years ago, 1.5 million years ago, pushing back a little bit, brain sizes start to accelerate. You start to go up to 1,500 to even 2,000 cubic centimeters, right? So it's really within the last million, a million and a half years that brain size is increasing. And it's increasing at a time where prior to body proportions are established. Our length of our legs are about what they, at 1.5 million years ago, are about what they are now. They're long legs. We have a big toe that's brought into line, right? Our pelvis looks parasagittally aligned. It looks curved around the body in a right way.
Hmm.
And then you can start seeing the increase in brain size.
Hmm.
And
So, so, so at some point in the past, a couple, 3, 4 million years ago, there were human-like or proto-human creatures walking around on two legs that looked like humans in the sense that they were bipedal, but they basically had chimp skulls or very small heads compared to us.
Yeah, and they probably had the ability, they probably had hair for all we know, thick hair, like we don't really know what they look like, but like they probably had the ability to still climb in some respects and they didn't have very powerful forearms yet for throwing, right? We talked about throwing as potential phenotype. That occurs more gradually. We think around 2.5 to 2 million years ago to 1.5 million years ago with Homo erectus, you start
Right.
seeing lateralization of shoulders that
Yeah.
allow us to throw and projectile.
I see. So yeah, if we rewind the clock and then play it forward, there were creatures walking around on two legs, and then sometime later did their heads grow, and that was probably also connected with other musculoskeletal changes like dexterity of the hands and the ability to use your upper limbs, your arms, to do things like throw spears. So when Australopithecus started walking on two legs, they weren't strong enough and they weren't smart enough to start hunting mammoths with spears, let's say.
That's the argument people make, and it's really hard. We don't, they could have been using wood tools for all we know.
Yeah, yeah.
No, one of the fascinating things that we discovered and is that when the pelvis shifts in its growth and starts to grows to the side, it inherently makes the birth canal, the upper part of the birth canal, wider. And this is at a time when the brains are still small. So
Interesting.
one of
So
the things
so
we
it's
posit-
there's no way to do that without widening the birth canal. So if I'm going to anticipate where you're going, maybe because this is just clicking in my head, the evolution of bipedality could have opened up essentially the niche for big skulls to actually evolve. It wasn't possible before.
Yeah, that's the thing I would go out on a limb, and say, when humans started walking, we shifted our pelvis. One of the things that happened to our birth canal is that we'll back up. In chimpanzees, the birth canal is deep from front to back, from the front of the animal to the back.